I'm a little concerned because the video on the actual episode itself was either an hour or an hour and a half. And I paused and I stopped recording and then recorded a new video of me talking about the episode. I started recording this new video. It is also an hour. Which does me a heckin' concern because I'm really bad at figuring out how to cut things. So I apologize if this video is super long. Hopefully you like my insights. Maybe I'll separate it into two and make a video about the episode and then a separate video about the song. That could work. So I really want to talk about the song at the end. This song, and I'll listen to the songs in the rest of the episode. I think as far as I remember, there's one song, besides the theme song, there is one song in every episode. I don't know if they were all written for the show, if they were made for other things and used for the show. A bit of both, I don't know. But that song that's at the end of this episode, I think might be my favorite so far in the entire show. I just remember when I first watched the show, I loved that song and the melancholy of it, and that it really enhanced the experience. And the fact that the song goes through the credits, like I just had to sit there shell-shocked watching the credits, listening to the song, and the song is so perfect for what is going on. I don't know if you'll be able to read those lyrics or if they're too tiny. But interestingly, so I know this song well enough to know that at least as long as this version is correct, and we'll talk about that in a second, the lyrics on the subtitles on Netflix were wrong. And in subtle ways, but wrong.
Before it falls down, away in me, and all these trees, eyes grow, play with shields made of stone. And I can see it in my hands, just like warriors, I swear.
I really love this song. It's so emotional and beautiful, and I think maybe first of all I'll talk about just the lyrics and how they relate to what's going on here. So I really love, so I can hear the sound of a heartbeat before it goes out. Won't ever leave my memory of bloodshed all around. That feels so perfect for what's going on here. That's true of both of them, but especially Jinx, that memory of all that bloodshed that she caused will never leave her. I can see a tear on my father's face before it falls out. That's Vander, And I love the gentle, simple emotion of that. Of just, there's bloodshed everywhere and just a single tear on my father's face. It's very beautiful. And this line is one of my favorite lines. Oh, my enemy, how could I have ever let you down? I thought that when I listened to the song, I thought that the lyrics were, and I can see a tear on my father's face before it falls out on my enemy. And that is what the Netflix lyrics say. But if this is correct, it's different, that it's the tear falls out and then, oh my enemy, how could I have ever let you down? When you're just listening to it, it could sound like, I can see a tear on my father's face before it falls out on my enemy. And then new line, how could I have ever let you down? And so it could seem like, Father, how could I have ever let you down? But I think there's something so beautiful and strange and deep in this idea of, oh my enemy, how could I have ever let you down? And granted, there is an argument for why this could be wrong, because it doesn't quite feel super fitting to the scene, but that does feel fitting to the show as a whole, that Vi and Jinx are kind of pitted as enemies, and so I do feel like they could have that mentality of, oh my enemy, how could I have ever let you down? And I love that idea for the show as a whole, because I keep talking about this whole hate thing, right? That's kind of a theme throughout the show of how easy it is to hate the other side. And this idea of sympathy, care, respect for your enemy. Oh, my enemy, how could I have ever let you down? And I guess it could fit for Silco and Vander, perhaps. And it very much is that kind of love your enemies, turn the other cheek idea that, of course, as a Christian, I do like that idea just in general. But I think this phrasing is so unique and interesting. And I wish that it was 5 to 8 words because that would make such a good prompt. But that is a great thing just to think about for the stories you might write. Of that, I love that idea in general for a story of, oh, my enemy, how could I have ever let you down? This love and care for the enemy, not desiring to let the enemy down. There's something so powerful to that turn the other cheek is something a lot of us have heard throughout our lives, and so because we've heard it so many times, we slowly understand its power less and less. And I like this version of it because it's like your father, right, who you don't want to let down. It's your friends, it's your siblings, your loved ones, like those are the people you don't want to let down. And so that idea and phrasing of, oh, my enemy, and even that oh has that care to it, but oh, my enemy, how could I have ever let you down? Really cool. When all these trees saw us grow, that was a line that was different on the Netflix version, but I like that idea of we watch the trees grow, but in this case it's like the trees are watching us grow. Cut our teeth and make our bones right here. Don't quite know what that one means other than just like, it's like we're forging our own bones like weapons, right? We play with shields made of stone, share our dreams and sit our thrones. Playing with shields is kind of like playing with something you don't know the meaning of, right? It's very much fitting to the kids that they are playing with things they don't quite know the meaning of. And then, you know, sharing dreams and share our dreams and sit our thrones. So sharing dreams of a better life, you know, both more innocent dreams and like Silco's dreams, right? And then sit our thrones. Are these real thrones or are they thrones of make-believe? And maybe that could refer to the council, like sitting on their thrones, and Jace sharing his dreams, right? And I also like it for Jinx is kind of sitting on a throne in the finale, right? So, be still. This be still is my favorite part of the entire song. The song from the actual show, as far as I know, is by Ramsey here. But there is this cover / remix by Abandoned that I absolutely adore, that I like a bit more than I like the original. The original is amazing, and like I said, I loved it when I listened to it. It really emphasized the pain of that episode, but this remix I absolutely love. It just came up like on my YouTube playlist one day and I was like, what is this? Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And in general, I think I just like the sound more. It's more dramatic. And I mean, in smaller ways, I like the goodbyes a little more. In the original song, it gets kind of repetitive. The quietness of it works, especially for being in the credits and everything. But it does kind of feel like it's repeating over and over again. And this one, it does repeat, but it's different and in a way that I think works a bit better. And I like how it changes the, like, instead of just goodbye, 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 oh, that it also adds in this goodbye, goodbye thing. But it is that be still that is quite possibly the reason that I like this cover more. I'm a Christian and I've grown up in church and Christianity, and that comes with its share of positives and negatives. And I've heard that Bible verse of be still. I think it's actually multiple verses, but there's one in particular I'm very familiar with. I've heard of it, and that's the kind of verse you find cross-stitched on a pillow, right? It's nice, it's calming, it's relaxing, it's pretty. And I remember one time, like, my family and I, we tried out a lot of different churches, and there's one church that we went to for many weeks, and when I went to, like, the youth group, Sunday school sort of thing, they had that verse, and they had us do breathing exercises, and I don't remember what it all entailed, but I think it was, like, either breathing in or breathing out, that phrase, be still, and or both, and I was so bored, and I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't getting it. So it's especially since that day, it's kind of a verse that annoyed me, because it was like, you know, just doing some breathing exercises, that ain't it for me. Like, breathing is good and, like, more valuable than I think kid me gave it credit for. But, you know, as a kid, that just wasn't speaking to me. And I don't remember exactly what it was that made me realize if it was just something that I thought of in my own Bible reading, if it's something I heard in a sermon. But it all comes down to this psalm, Psalm 46, and it's very short. I'm just going to read it to you. And we're in the NIV. Psalm 46. For the director of music of the sons of Korah, according to Alamoth, a song. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way, and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, and the mountains quake with their surging. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her, she will not fall. God will help her at the break of day. Nations are in uproar, kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice, the earth melts. The Lord Almighty is with us, the God of Jacob is our fortress. Come and see what the Lord has done, the desolations he has brought on the earth. He makes war cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the shields with fire. He says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress." So I was drawn to that psalm because, you know, it's this God is our refuge and strength. It's this comforting psalm, right? But if you look at it, there's a lot of these images of like war and destruction, right? That the earth gives way, the mountains fall into the sea, the mountains quake, all those things. Nations are in uproar. And so just seeing, there's these lines here of, "Come and see what the Lord has done, the desolations." Again, this like big negative thing. He's brought up, he makes war cease. And so that's good. That's bringing peace, though we don't know how that peace was brought about. We don't know if there was the desolation brought about that peace. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. Again, this is potentially good, of like, stop the wars, break the weapons, but there's this violent act of breaking them. And then in all this violence, desolation, and uproar, the thing that God says is, "Be still and know that I am God." And so it made me realize that the idea of be still isn't like this nice cross-stitched on a pillow thing. It's just like, oh yeah, sit pretty and nice and peaceful. It's this idea of there's these wars, this desolation going around, and being still in the midst of that. And it's not a sense of what you need to do of your own efforts and just sit and be still. It's God saying that to us. And so there's kind of multiple layers to that, right? That one layer could be like, this is a command of be still. Another could be that him saying be still is causing whoever's hearing it to be still. And it also could be this idea of him speaking to the circumstances, that speaking to all the wars and horrors and desolation, telling them to be still the way that Jesus told the storm to be still, sort of thing, and making the storms outside to be still and know that he is God, that he has the authority, right? And it could be this idea of like, even though you're watching me do all this destructive stuff, at the end of the day, I want you to, in the stillness, you will know that I am God, not in the war. So this cover of this song has this line of be still, and this cover is the absolute best audio representation I have ever heard of that idea, that meaning of be still. Because all this has a quietness to it. It does feel like it's building, but it's kind of quiet and gentle. Be Still, everything changes. There's not a whole lot of build up, and then just boom on Be Still. There's this booming sound, and it's very loud and intense and everything like that. And that feels like the real meaning of Be Still, because I think Be Still, probably in other songs, is something that is said very quietly and calmly and gently, or if anything, maybe if the song is intense, Be Still calms it. And that has its merits and can still be very beautiful, but personally, this really speaks to me of that idea of like, it is in the midst of war and horror that these words are spoken. And I also think it's cool that in the Bible, the lines next to Be Still are, he breaks the bow and shatters the spear, he burns the shields with fire. And in the song, we play with shields made of stone, share our dreams and set our thrones, be still. The shields image, like there's kind of very similar imagery to the psalm with the song. And if I can play that part of the song, I will play it. But I don't know if that's going to run me into copyright issues. And so if it is not played, you will know why. That psalm and that verse came to, over time, mean a lot to me. And I think especially because I viewed it in this negative light, that then seeing it in such a different light made me really fall in love with that verse and with this psalm. Because this very much feels like something much more relatable. I talked about before how I love villainous characters. I love characters who struggle to be good, whether they are villains who are doing these bad things but really want to be good, or they're heroes who are doing good things but struggling with this temptation to be evil. And this idea of the war and horrors around and be still in the midst of that kind of has those ideas too. And so finding a song that has that idea so clearly in it, means a lot to me. And even that, because I see smoke up ahead and I got steel in my hands, even that is similar to the psalm as well, right? And then I really like Where Is My Home. I like how the song goes back to that quiet, gentle thing. And it's like a cry calling out in the wilderness, where is my home? I don't recognize the faces anymore. Where is my friend, the one I've known since I was only just a kid? Kind of reads like Powder calling out for Milo and Clagger, right? And her not knowing, is Silco my home? Is Vi my home? And her memories of Milo and Clagger have been tainted and have like those horrible highlighted faces, and that goodbye definitely is really impactful, especially when you're listening to it after the episode. This idea of the audience is realizing this is goodbye between Vi and Powder. And I do remember when I first watched it that I was like, that can't be it. Like, it can't be how their relationship ends. And being utterly shocked that Silco showed up is like, this can't be. Like, sort of thing. It's really powerful. It's a really good song. And I like the song in general. Like, I'm relating it to the show, of course, because I'm reacting to the show and everything. But I think the song is great just to, like, think about your own characters and kind of use it as a prompt for your characters and just the characters that might experience something like this. And it's just good vibes, man. But yeah, if you like this video, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing. It really helps out the channel, and my channel is very small right now, so I really appreciate any support that you can give. Also, you can check out my VODs and writing group stuff on A Moth in the Archive. You can check out my gaming stuff on A Moth in the Arcade, and you can check out my books and classical literature stuff on A Moth in the Library. So yeah, I very much appreciate if you visit those. So hope you enjoyed the video. Tell me if you did. I will see you in the next one, where we will finally get to see the present day. And until next time, goodbye, goodbye. Oh. Yeah, that the audience is realizing this is goodbye.